Welcome back. Let's return to Donald Trump's plan for peace in the Middle East now. The president laid out that plan alongside his Israeli counterpart, Benjamin Netanyahu, at the White House. However, the plan was not welcomed by the other side, the Palestinian side. Let's speak to Ambassador Husam Zomlot, the head of the Palestinian mission to the UK. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. So how can you refuse the deal of the century? He calls it, Donald Trump calls it an historic opportunity, and you may never get another chance like it.
I mean, President Trump can really benefit from some humility. He doesn't know the region. He doesn't know Palestine or the Palestinian people, the history. He couldn't even say the word Al-Aqsa Mosque in his speech. And he comes and he wants to draw the future of 13 million Palestinians after 100 years of struggle, after 100 years of international deliberations and resolutions. And there was no one Palestinian of the 13 million in his audience or taking part in his process. The only ones who were in his audience are the representatives of the far-right Israel, from the prime minister to the settler movement. I mean, really, this was a sad moment, not only for us, the Palestinians, but for all those who really believe in the prospects for a two-state solution, a negotiated two-state solution, because we don't think now, after this political circus, what we just witnessed, any Israeli prime minister would actually want to negotiate a two-states in line with international resolutions.
But if you don't, if you don't participate in the talks that the process that Jared Kushner got underway, and if you don't get involved, what do you expect?
We were never invited. I was the ambassador to Washington. I was sent to Washington shortly after President Trump won and called us, inviting us to engage. We engaged at the highest level. Our president met President Trump 4 times in a matter of weeks in 2017, between May and September. You know, we were really doing well. And actually, we were discussing genuine things, important things, and everything that my president said to President Trump agreed with. And all of a sudden, in November 2017, I received a phone call from the State Department at a very senior level telling me that the Palestinian office, the embassy, would be closed in Washington, which I described immediately as a backstabbing. From the very beginning, this process has nothing to do with us, the Palestinians, not with the prospects for peace. This process is just about 2 individuals. The first is President Trump, and the second is Prime Minister Netanyahu. And it's not a coincidence that today, the very day they announced their peace plan, while the Israeli Knesset was discussing charges against indictment against Prime Minister Netanyahu, and the U.S. Congress was discussing and having a hearing for his impeachment.
Okay, so let's talk about the plan. Let's talk about the plan. Donald Trump says it doubles Palestinian territory. The capital would be in East Jerusalem. There'd be a U.S. embassy in East Jerusalem, and talks about territorial compromises by Israel. I mean, is there any sense in which it could be a basis for negotiation?
You know, the basis for negotiations have been long established, not by us, the Palestinians, by the international order, the international system, the international community, including the United Kingdom. And these international resolutions have decided that a solution will be founded on the basis of 2 states on the 1967 borders, whereby Israel must cease its occupation of 1967, must relinquish that, and the Palestinian state will be established sovereign, independent, with East Jerusalem as the capital of the state of Palestine. This remains to be the position of the UK, the position of the international community. Now comes President Trump, says that I want to do big things, and he literally delivered a blow to internationalism, to international order, to our ability to have rules that govern between states and nations and countries, and it's all subjected to his own personal calculations.
Let me just ask you this. Sorry to interrupt you. We've limited time, but let me just ask you this. You talk about the 67 borders with the West Bank, the Gaza, East Jerusalem as the capital. Israel are unlikely to accept that. If they don't accept that, you won't accept anything less. Where does the whole issue of peace in the Middle East go?
Why Israel wouldn't accept that? We have accepted to actually have 22% of the share of the historic Palestine, which before 1948 and before the British Balfour Declaration that promised a nation state for the Jewish people in Palestine, before all that, we were the native, the majority of the land, owning the absolute majority of the land. And all of a sudden, we have to accept even less than 22%. So the peace process would be a function of what Israel accepts or not. I think it's very clear. Israel is not interested in ending its occupation. Israel is not even interested in ending its colonial expansion. Israel is only interested in the entire land, the Greater Israel project, as you heard Netanyahu just a few minutes ago saying Judea and Samaria, the biblical name of the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem. He wants to return 1/3 of the West Bank, the Jordan Valley, the most eastern borders. They are not serious about a state. They are not serious about capital in Jerusalem. All what they're doing is just to try and blame the Palestinians for rejecting what they want us to believe to be a genuine offer. This is the most disingenuous exercise in recent memory.
Okay, what about this? He says that they will be left on the table for 4 years, and if President Abbas doesn't want to negotiate, a future Palestinian leader might. Look, just 30 seconds left. Is there any chance that a future Palestinian leadership would negotiate on this basis set out today at the White House?
Any Palestinian future or current leader will have to accept what his nation accepts and wants, and that is freedom, justice, the right of self-determination, a state, a real one, not a Mickey Mouse state. They can call their own home with a passport and freedom to move and freedom to work, and they want also their very internationally enshrined rights to be fulfilled. Short of that, I doubt, Mark, any leader will accept these diktats, this bullying that we have seen today. They don't know. President Trump doesn't know the Palestinian people. He's still stuck in the real estate business. We are not up for sale. We are a very dignified, rooted nation, go back millennia, and we have managed to remain where we are with our perseverance, our ability to exist and persist is absolutely tested throughout history. And I believe...
All right, Ambassador, I have to interrupt you. Thank you. I have to interrupt you.
Two things have been damaged today. The future of Israel,
okay.
It will be an apartheid state, and international law, unfortunately.
Okay, Ambassador, thanks very much. I'm sorry to interrupt you.